All right, we're back to discuss Ouija, Origin of Evil. And so, yeah, you mentioned how they make the movie look old. It starts with a 1960s era Universal logo. The title card has like the old Roman numeral style on it.
I love that it had a border around the film and then just Ouija.
And then they did the cigarette burns in the upper right corner, like it was shot on film.
Like every single thing they did was old school.
I thought I was in the first two acts of the movie. I thought it was really well built up and really well done. I think that the third act, the writing kind of fell apart. Just because it felt like it was leaning too much on, we're just going to show the little girl with her mouth open over and over again, and that's going to be the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Instead of there being some additional twist or some additional, shocking revelation. But it also kind of writes itself into a corner by being a prequel to the other Ouija, because we do know what happens to these characters. So if you actually watched, if I had the first movie fresh in my mind, which I'm not going to do, but if I had just watched it, I'd be able to tell you, like, oh yeah, the mom, this happens to the mom, and the girl ends up with her mouth sewn shut and all that sort of thing. So it works as far as that goes, and I think for people that are fans of the original, I think they should be happy with it. I can see where some people might think there's not enough scares in the first half of the movie, because it's not as ridiculous in modern horror as the first one was.
They did such a good job building up.
Yeah, I think that this movie is for people that did not see the first one, and so it is kind of like we were saying before. It is kind of a shame that it had to tie back into the original, because if you have seen the original, there's things that you already know are going to happen.
Well, the original one I felt was like Final Destination with a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Like they used the Ouija board and then all of a sudden they just started dying in random ways.
Well, this is written and directed by Mike Flanagan, who did Oculus, and the older daughter Lena is also from Oculus.
I actually liked Oculus.
I did too, and you can see that kind of care, that kind of thought put into making a horror movie that's not just a stupid, it's not a slasher movie. It's not, because the first one I think is more like a slasher movie. Like, you hate all the characters, whether the script actually wants you to or not, just because the acting is so atrocious. Like, the lead character in the first movie, I remember just thinking was awful, and so I wanted bad things to happen to her. I didn't want to see her anymore, and in this movie you don't. You have two very strong characters, and then the little girl is sort of the spooky character, but she does a really good job with it. I just thought, like, it worked. I mean, the movie really worked. I felt like there could have been one or two more things that they did in the third act to make it just absolutely a must-see movie.
I agree. You mentioned it in the first half about the third act, just her with her mouth open. That is something that has happened in horror movies since The Grudge.
Yeah.
I don't know why they've latched onto that one thing. I guess it's a little unsettling. But this movie, its first two acts were so strong that it earned that first scare. And that's something you don't see in many horror movies anymore.
Right.
And I have a deep appreciation for this movie because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, once the little girl gets possessed and does all the things we've seen little girls that are possessed do in movies before, to me it just becomes it goes back to being an average horror movie.
Oh yeah.
So that was my problem with it.
It drops off horribly, and they did a couple cool things, like when the boyfriend was hanging from the rafters, like he swung over and picked her up.
Right.
I thought that was a pretty cool scene because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, but it's all the ghosts.
The crawling on the walls, the light coming from the mouth as it's just like hanging open.
Right.
It's weird. They even use the scene from the Grudge where they look in her mouth and they see the eye.
Yeah.
I think this.
Yeah. So here's my prediction. There will be another one because I doubt they spent very much on this movie. They probably spent more than the first one because it's better shot and better. I mean, the first one I think was like a $20 million movie. It was like It
was terrible.
It was or less even than that. But I have a feeling that the third one's going to be Ouija the Devil's Doctor, and they're going to go back and do another prequel because that's really the only direction they can go.
That would make sense.
And try and make a movie out of that. And explain more of that backstory. And if they get Mike Flanagan again, maybe it'll work out. But if it's
like Insidious, they did the movie and then they did 2 prequels.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised by the movie, particularly because Ouija was one of the worst movies we saw that whole year.
Pyramid.
I don't know if that was the same year or not, but yeah, that would be in the running for worst. But yeah, Ouija was it was a painful experience.
It really was. Skip it, go watch this one.
Yeah. Origin of Evil. It was decent. So, yeah, if you like the way we do these reviews, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.